Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to completely dismantle everything you think you know about enterprise storage. Seriously, we're throwing the old rulebook out the window. We're diving into part 2 of a massive 15-part tutorial called Modern AI Storage, an Architectural Guide. This whole series comes to us from the folks over at Virtualization Options LLC, which is a really sharp technology research and advisory group out of Colorado. For this session, we are laser-focused on Chapter 2, which is all about the rapidly evolving AI storage hierarchy. So if you're sitting there thinking the old rules of IT storage still apply to modern AI workloads, well, prepare to have your perspective entirely shifted.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our agenda, which is basically our roadmap for a literal spatial descent. We'll start by moving beyond the classic stack, then map out the new AI storage hierarchy. After that, we'll explore both the inner compute tiers and the outer storage tiers. And finally, we'll wrap up by decoding data flow and prefetching. Section 1. Beyond the classic stack, unlearning the pyramid.
So we really have to start by unlearning that classic storage pyramid. For decades, storage architects optimized around two main things: random access and temporal locality. The assumption was always that if you accessed data recently, you'd probably need it again soon. But modern AI storage, it requires a completely different mindset. AI demands highly sequential throughput and very predictable shuffle windows. It's wild, but the exact same massive dataset is often read in the exact same order over and over again across multiple training epochs.
And here's why that matters. AI's massive sequential shuffle windows literally break traditional least recently used or LRU caching assumptions. When you're creating these large randomized windows to keep your training quality high, your old caching strategies become instantly useless. They just don't work anymore. You absolutely need deliberate, planned data movement instead of hoping the cache catches it.
Section 2. The AI Storage Hierarchy, a Spatial Descent.
Now that we know the old stack is basically dead, let's look at the new hierarchy. It's a highly dynamic ecosystem made up of 5 to 7 concentric tiers, and it's all based on physical distance. Think of this as the data availability boundary. The inner core operates in blazing fast nanoseconds, but as you step outward towards parallel file systems and object storage, that latency scales up to full seconds. The whole game here? Ensure that inner core never ever starves for data.
Taking a look at this breakdown, you can really see how capacity scales up and latency slows way down as we move from Tier 0 out to Tier 3. And here's the kicker with AI workloads. They expose every single one of these tiers simultaneously. That places incredibly distinct and often totally conflicting demands on each layer. Let's actually walk through each of these tiers to see exactly what role they play in the AI data lifecycle.
Section 3. The Inner Compute Tiers. Nanoseconds matter.
Let's start our descent at the absolute center of the action, Tier 0. This is the GPU High Bandwidth Memory, or HBM. It operates at blistering nanosecond access speeds. This is the literal core of the compute process, where everything required for a forward-backward pass has to physically reside during computation.
But because it's so incredibly fast and, frankly, so expensive, it is highly constrained. We're talking about a tiny footprint of just 80 to 192 gigabytes per GPU. That means it can only hold exactly what is being computed right at this exact second, like the active model weights and the immediate training batch. There's absolutely no room for excess data here, none. So, stepping just slightly outward across those high-speed PCIe or NVLink physical bridges, we hit Tier 1, the host DRAM. This operates at the microsecond level and acts as the critical staging ground. It catches the data before it hits the GPU, holding those all-important prefetch buffers and upcoming batches.
Notice the massive jump here. Capacity requirements absolutely explode just one step away from the GPU. We leap up to 1 to 4 terabytes per server. You need this crucial buffering headroom to make sure the GPU doesn't end up sitting there twiddling its thumbs, waiting for the slower network tiers to catch up.
This hardware boundary is absolutely critical. This is where data moves from the wider, more abundant host memory banks directly into the tightly controlled GPU processor. Think about it. If the host DRAM doesn't have the next batch queued up perfectly, the GPU just stalls. Honestly, how smoothly you transition data across this specific boundary dictates your entire training efficiency.
Section 4. The Outer Storage Tiers, Scaling to Petabytes.
Continuing our journey outward, we leave the compute boundary entirely and hit the outer storage tiers, starting with Tier 2. This tier utilizes compute-local NVMe SSDs. Basically, this acts as a massive, high-bandwidth flash cache right inside the server chassis itself. It's absolutely vital as a staging area for rapid model checkpointing.
And look at the capacity leap again. We're now looking at 10 to 100 terabytes per server, operating at sub-millisecond latencies. Compute local NVMe used to be a pretty niche requirement, mostly just for high-performance databases. But today, in modern AI architecture, it's a standard, non-negotiable component of any serious GPU server.
Finally, we cross over the network boundary and arrive at Tier 3. This is where those massive shared training data repositories live, relying heavily on parallel file systems and NVMe over fabrics. Unlike your standard enterprise storage arrays, these technologies are designed to aggregate bandwidth across distinct storage nodes to deliver data at a truly massive scale.
We have now officially hit the extreme petabyte scale. At this distance, data access stretches out into millisecond latency territory. This tier holds the vast, shared training corpuses. And because we're dealing with milliseconds here, the software has to be incredibly smart. The system must aggressively read ahead, pulling data off this tier way before the GPU even knows it needs it.
Out here at the outer edge of our hierarchy lies this vast ocean of data. But here's the reality check. Without incredibly advanced network architectures aggressively feeding this data inward, your multi-million-dollar compute cluster, it would sit entirely starved.
Section 5. Data flow and prefetching, the bidirectional system.
So how exactly does data travel across this vast landscape without starving those incredibly expensive GPUs? Well, it's not just some static stack where data goes to die. It's a highly dynamic, bidirectional system governed by smart software policies. Managed by tiering daemons and driven by super aggressive prefetch engines, data is constantly being pushed inward during training and pushed outward during checkpointing phases. Now, we run into a bit of a paradox here. AI models absolutely need random data to learn properly, but pure random access? That normally kills storage performance. So how do we fix it? We use a brilliant technique called chunked shuffling. See, a full dataset shuffle requires random access everywhere, which completely defeats those sequential prefetching engines we just talked about. But chunk shuffling divides the dataset into large, manageable blocks that are only shuffled internally. This gives the storage system the sequential reads it craves while still giving the AI model the randomness it needs for quality training. It's like the best of both worlds. To turn this concept into an actionable workflow, it all comes down to tuning. You absolutely must tune your block sizes to perfectly match your Tier 1 prefetch buffers. By dividing the dataset into blocks sized exactly for that host RAM, shuffling the data internally, and reading the blocks sequentially from Tier 3, you create a perfectly smooth, deterministic pipeline. To wrap up this explainer, you really have to ask yourself a tough question. Are you still relying on a static, legacy storage pyramid, or are you ready to architect a dynamic, prefetch-driven AI storage hierarchy? Chapter 2 of this guide makes one thing abundantly clear. If you cling to a traditional enterprise mindset, you are guaranteed to hit a massive storage wall. You have to embrace this dynamic, multi-tiered hierarchy if you want to unlock the true power of your compute. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive, and keep building smarter infrastructure.